Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. This is day 2 of our Google Apps MindMup 2.0 class. And today's date is what, Larry? Right. February 2nd, 2016. And it's, what is it, about 40, 50 degrees outside? Yep. I see everybody's in here in t-shirts.
Nice and warm in here.
Outside, how is it?
In here, it's nice and warm.
Okay. How is it outside?
It's cold.
Oh, it's cold. Clear but cold. Snow is gone.
Yeah.
So did you guys in California notice the event notice, the picture that was in there? Anybody notice that?
Huh? Oh yeah, you said you could see the snow?
Yeah, that's what it looked like yesterday out our back window.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Not our back window. We don't have a back window. Near the car. So that picture right there is the snow on the mountains. How far away are those? 5 miles?
Somewhere in there. I'd say 5, 8 miles.
How about 5.5?
Okay.
Okay, so that was yesterday. Today it's gone. No snow. So that was probably only an inch. That was what they call the dusting, I think, of snow. But our purpose today is to talk about MindMups. So why don't we open up the MindMup that we created yesterday? And how do we do that, Jesus?
9 square grid.
9 square grid. Are you sure?
Yeah. Go back to your drive.
Oh.
You mean the colored apps 9 square grid? Okay, so that's one way to do it. Now the other way to do it, which I think I heard Dennis say, or somebody say, if you go to your drive and you find the map that you created and you double click on it, it will open it. But first we got to make sure we have our drive set up properly. So everybody, what I want you to do is go to drive. Now if you have your MindMup open, go to another tab, open your drive. So this is an important thing to know how to do. Okay, is everybody in drive? Dennis, is everybody in drive?
New students, I'm showing them. We're gonna get there in just a second.
Okay. Okay, when you get to your drive, so Larry, your drive, Jesus, Ed, Mike, Maritha, Marty, Deanna. Okay. Just checking, make sure everybody's at their drive. Okay, now, click on the gear, go into settings. Click on the gear, and then go to settings. Then over on the left in settings, it says manage apps. Do you see that over here? Manage apps. Click on that. Scroll down to where you see MindMup 2.0 and make sure the box is checked. If it is not checked, check it, then click done. So what that enables us to do is to go to a MindMup that's in our drive and it will launch MindMup. So we don't have to go to MindMup and then launch it from MindMup. We can go to the file and launch it from drive. And again, that just comes under the heading of there's more than one way to do things in Google. Oh, by the way, did anybody see that yesterday Google became the most, the highest value company in the world? So Google is now worth more than any other company in the world, at about $560 billion. And how old is Google? About 19 years old. That's it. So in 19 years, they went from non-existence to the highest valued company in the world. And who did they beat out yesterday? Apple, right. Yesterday morning when we woke up, Apple was the highest valued company in the world. Doesn't mean they have the highest sales, doesn't mean they have the highest profits. What that means, if you take a share of Apple stock and you multiply it by the number of shares that they have, that's called market value. That's the market value of the company. The number of shares times the value per share. So Apple was worth about $540 billion yesterday morning. By the end of the day yesterday, Google was worth about $560 billion. How old's Apple?
About 15?
No, Apple started in the late 70s, mid 70s, late 70s. So Apple started in the late 70s. So let's say that was 25, that's about 40-year-old company. So again, not that old. Like how old are some of the oil companies? Standard Oil, Exxon, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Yeah, they're old. So anyway, that says a lot about the confidence we should have in Google. Yesterday I was talking to a new student, somebody that's going to be starting next week. And what you're going to find is a lot of people say, oh, Google, yeah, well, that's not really secure. False. If Google was not secure, it would not be the most valuable company in the world. Why not? Why wouldn't it be?
It does. Trust.
Yeah. If you don't think it's secure, are you going to use it?
No.
No. If you think your stuff is going to be stolen, are you going to use it?
No.
If you think it's going to crash, are you going to use it? No. But horizontal learning, somebody told this person who's not an expert, yeah, Google's not secure. And he said, yeah, well, I have problems with my cell phone. And I said, okay, well, what kind of phone do you have? He said, an Obama phone. Okay, so in other words, it's not the phone, it's Google. That's the problem in his mind. He doesn't get, there's a difference between an Obama phone and an iPhone or a good Android phone. It's just like here, or when you go to work, a lot of people, when their computer doesn't work or they have a problem, a lot of people are going to say, what's broken?
Google?
The internet's broken. The internet's down. Okay? Were you here when we did experience the one time in the original trailer when the internet did go down? When Google went down? There was one day where it went down and somebody said, Google's down. And how do you think I responded?
No. ID Tinty.
It was the Google is not down. I can assure you Google is not down. Look, let me show you. Let me demonstrate. And it was down. So, okay, so we're on our drive. We've got the updated it, so now it's a thing. So let's go to our employment planning, and you should see it in your drive. If you don't see it in your drive, go down to recent documents. You'll see it in your drive, double click on it, and you will be able to open it. Okay, so this is just a quick review for the next 10 minutes or so. What is the purpose of mind mapping? Phyllis, what's the purpose of mind mapping?
Brainstorming?
Yeah, so it's a way to get ideas down. So let's say you're going to do a white paper. What's a white paper, Ed?
White paper is when you are doing the writing for your TED Talks.
Well, that's our white paper. So a white paper for our purposes is like a brain dump, everything you know on a subject. So in the old days, people would come up to a whiteboard, they'd say, okay, here's this, and say, okay, let's have some ideas, people. And people would say the ideas, and then you do this, and they'd write them on a board, and then if you had a sub-idea of this, it would be, and then you go off and you create things on a board. That's where mind mapping came from, but actually it probably came from, who knows, Socrates with the stick in the sand and doing things, but it's a good way to quickly get down a lot of information. So MindMup, and there's a lot of other programs like MindMup, what they do is they take this concept that you can do on paper and they made a program out of it. But again, nobody out there really knows how to do this. So this is an advantage to us. If you're going to have your own company, this is something that becomes an advantage to us because you can have one circle for customers, employees, vendors, supplies, jobs that we have, and you can branch off of those things and do a lot. If it's a TV show, here's the idea of the show, who are the actors, what is the set, what are the different episodes about, okay, and then you had episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and then from these things you can have sub stuff. And when you have the ability to contract it down, to collapse it, so you only see something like what's on the screen, it makes it a lot easier to be able to focus on things. Okay? So, does everybody have their employment, their map up like this? Okay, so Ed, how do we expand it?
Yeah.
Correct. We hit the F key. And that expands it to what view?
So all your little nodes.
Well, to the last view that we had. For example, if I now expand this one,
Maybe like
okay, if I now come back here and collapse it, if I open it up, what is it gonna look like? What I did the first time I expanded or just now? Watch. Okay, so it went to the last view. If I close these, and now I collapse it, when I open it again, it's only going to show that. But if I expand it to be like this, I come back here, I collapse it. When I open it again, it's going to be just as I left it. Okay, so the point is, when you collapse things, you collapse around the active cell, the active node where you were. This is the active node right now. Employment planning is the active node. So it's collapsing around employment planning. What's the active node now?
That's your
This one right here, do for free. So if I collapse it around do for free, what happened? All that did is it collapsed the stuff attached to do for free. If I make that the active cell and I collapse it, what's going to happen? It's going to look like that, right? And now if I collapse regarding my home node, my parent node, I'm now going to look like that. If I expand it, I'm going to come back to the way I left it. So that's the thing about expanding and collapsing. It starts with the F key, but it expands and collapses based upon how you left it previously, the previous view. So if I do that, and that, oops, that, that, okay. So your mind map should look like this.
So your last active thing you have keyed it down and collapsed it would be that last one you left off on, right?
Well, if I collapsed it around this, if I made employment planning my active cell and I collapsed it, it's going to go like that. Now what's going to happen if I expand
It's
it?
going to go all the way back where you
It's
had
going
it.
to go all the way back.
So all those things won't collapse. It's just going to bring you back to your very last setting.
Yeah.
The previous
Right.
that you got to go.
Okay? So now, If you haven't done it yet, what I want you to quickly do to get back into practice is to create nodes under possible employers. Create 5 nodes, name them 1 through 5. So how do you do it? How do you do it, Jesus? How do I create a node? A possible employer. Yeah?
Push space?
No. That's if I want to edit that node. How do I create a new node? Larry, do you know?
You would click on possible employers, right?
Yeah,
And you would hit like insert child node or
I could do that. So I could come up here and hit insert child node. That would be one way to do it. How about if I right click? If I right click, I can click insert child, right? See right here? Or I could just hit the tab key. And that will create a new node. So there's 3 ways to create a new subnode or child node. One is on the bar, the toolbar. One is right clicking, and then the other one is just to hit the tab key. Okay, so to create your employer buttons, you make possible employers an active cell. And then what I do is I just hit the tab key, because it's just easier for me just to move my little finger up to tab, hit the tab key, and then I type in the number 1. And I hit enter. And then I hit the enter key to enter. Hit the enter key again, 3, enter,
I'm ready.
4. Okay, so that's how fast it is to create nodes. So does everybody have this now? Okay, so now let's just do an example of research. So I'm going to collapse this node. How do I collapse the node? F. Okay, so I make possible employers active and I hit F. I'm going to close these other nodes too, just because I like to have as much space. If I select the thing, I can move this to wherever I put it. Or if I select a node, I can move the node over there. See how I did that? I select it and I bring it back. So we can move these things around. All right, but I'm going to go to research. I'm going to create a subnode, a child node. How do I do that, Ed?
Child node, you can either right click,
Okay,
or you can go to the top.
okay, so right click, I hit child. So I'm going to do for employer number 1. Okay? And then I'm going to hit tab because I want a subnode off of that. Okay? Okay, so my subnode, I'm going to have website. What else kind of research am I going to do? YouTube. Facebook, maybe. I'll call it social media. And then off of social media, I'm going to have Facebook, Twitter, what else? Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And then I'm also going to create a node called Other. Okay? So that's what I should have as part of my research for company number 1. So that makes it easy for me to know what I need to fill in, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to collapse this around number 1. I'm going to right click. No, I can't right click. I have to go up here to copy. On the toolbar, I go up to copy. I copy that, and now I want to paste it. I change the number to 2. I expand it, and boom, right. So then I copy that 5 times. And then I just go back in, I click on them, hit the space bar, 3, enter. Come down to the next one, space bar, 4, enter. Go to the next one, space bar, 5, enter. So now I have built my structure of how I'm going to do research for each of these companies. Now, I need to summarize my research somewhere. What do I summarize my research into? What do you think I summarize my research into?
It's your main.
No, but what is the thing I summarize it into? A document. Okay, I summarize it into a document. So how do I add a document? I go up to the paperclip. So I attach a file. Just like in Gmail, just like in email, paperclip means what? Attachment. Okay? So what I would do is go into my Google Drive. And if I knew the name of the file, I would add it, but I don't have a file. So I got to close this. I go to Drive. I go to my folder that this file is in, my employment planning folder. And then I create what? A new document. And I'll call that document EPW. What does that stand for? Employment Planning Workshop 1 Research. Okay. Now I'm going to close that. I'm going to close the tab. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a copy of that file. So I close the tab. I scroll down to Recent. And it shows me the recent files. And guess what's one's on top? EPW Research. I go to it, I right click, and I go to make a copy. I click make a copy. Okay, now we've got to go up and make a copy. I rename it. I change it to the number 2. So now I have EPW2. Right click, make a copy. Go to the copy, right click, rename it to what?
compiling 3.
Right. Now what do I do next?
Repeat the process.
Right, repeat process. So I'm going to do now, make a copy. Rename to what?
_.
Exactly. What do I do next?
What's the repeat process?
Exactly. Repeat the process. Now what?
195.
I rename it. Right. Okay, now I go back to my document. I make one active. Click on the paper clip. And then I got to look for my file. How do I find my file?
Put in your search bar.
Right. Okay. So I put in EPW. I do that. Guess what comes up? The list of the places. Right? Now I have a paper clip. So watch this. What do you think happens if I click on the paper clip?
You're going to get your attachment.
It's going to come to the thing and I open the file. And there it is. So on my MindMup, what have I done? I've created a template, right? If I expand that, this shows me the research I need to do. What's their website, any YouTube videos they have, etc. So if I go to the website and I get the website, what do I do with it? Well, so I go into notes, which is this one right next to the paper clip. And then I would type in, I would copy the hyperlink into the note. So in the future, if I wanted to get to their web page, what would I do?
You can just go right into your
MindMup.
MindMup. You would go to that section. You would open up your node. You would
Go to the notes,
go to your node.
click on the hyperlink. Right. Okay, so this is an easy way to store all the information. So if I said, okay, Ed,
Yes.
if I said, Ed, I'm on doing research on company number 3, how do I find their YouTube stuff? What would I do? How would I find it? How do I find it after you've done the research?
You go into your search bar so you can get to number 3. Right? But you have to go up top to go to your number 3 search.
No. So if I started from here,
You'd open up.
okay, so I expand it, right? I go to research, right? I expand that.
Go to 3.
Company number 3,
Then you
go to YouTube,
You open up your notes.
and I'd open my notes.
And then if you're hyperlink that way.
Yeah, I just click on the hyperlink. That's all I have to do. So, you know, it's not that big of a deal if you only have 5 companies, but let's say there's 500. Does this work? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would also put the hyperlink in this document. That's the attachment. Okay, the paperclip. Okay, that's my planning document. That's the document I make my plan from. Now, just imagine that your counselor, your caseworker, saw your MindMup. what would they think? Yeah. People want to help people who are helping themselves. When it comes to investing in companies like venture capital, people want to invest in businesses that they think is going to make them money. They don't want to invest just to help you out. What's in it for me, right? What's in it for me? Well, success. So the same thing comes to caseworkers have a certain amount of time every day. Who do you think they want to help? The people who are going to be successful or the people who are not going to be successful? Right. So if you have this done, are you going to look successful or not?
Yes.
You're going to look successful. So who's the caseworker going to help? Correct. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Creating 10 resumes, making 10 copies of your resume and sending it out, or going online and applying at 10 different companies with the same resume is really a bad idea. Now, at Casa Grande, starting tomorrow, we are supposed to begin teaching people how to use computers so they can do their resume. Hopefully, that's from my daughter saying she's taking AP chemistry next year. This is my daughter who got a 99th percentile on the PSAT, who got the letter from Stanford inviting her to their high school university this summer for 8 weeks to go to Stanford, live in the dorm, take college classes, and get college credits. But she can't go because she's not 16. You have to be 16 to go. She's only 15. And she got a letter from Yale University inviting her to something similar. And this is my daughter Lucy, who's what? Kind of kooky, who has Asperger's. She has Asperger's. Very slight. So she just seems kooky when you meet her. Because her personality is sort of like Tony Hsieh, where they can't tell by your face what you're thinking. So they don't really know if you're not happy with them, if you're happy with them. And so what people say about Tony Hsieh is, you don't know what he's thinking. He's really sharp. He's doing this MindMup thing with you. Okay. But really, according to some people, he probably is a little bit autistic, and he just doesn't know. It's not that he has bad skills. He just doesn't really know. Can't tell from nonverbal clues what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good to be in AP chemistry, right? All right. So for our purposes, though, mind mapping helps us look like we should go to Stanford. Because this is the kind of thing people at Stanford do. And why do they do it? Why do you think that people at Stanford do stuff like this? Because it makes it easy, yeah, to take complex things and break them down into component parts. Okay, so today's assignment, though, was to do what? What are we doing today?
We're doing 5 employers. Picking 5 companies to put onto our second.
No.
On the plan.
On the plan, right? Wouldn't that be number 2? Find companies that we like to do and find 5 of them linked to that, right?
Okay, what was the video? What was the video? Okay, so the video was on doing a storyboard. Who remembers how to do a storyboard? No, today's video. Okay. So what I want you to do is go to View,
It's under file.
No, it's to the right of file. It's under, go to file, view, to the right of insert. So hover over or click on view. A box opens up. The second one down
Sidebar.
shows, yeah, it says show storyboard
Got it.
under sidebar.
That's what
Okay, so now this, especially for people in California, this is like creating a PowerPoint.
Okay.
So if I go to, on the left, if I go to dream position, I expand it. So all I do is I select nodes, and I drag them over in whatever order they're supposed to be. What the order I want them in terms of the story. So think of it like if you're creating a story and this is the order you want people to see it. In other words, so if you're showing somebody a MindMup, you might not want to do this when you're talking to them about it and have them see everything at once. It's like a story. In fact, the video today talks about like a story. You have a beginning, you have a middle, and an ending. You don't want people to look at the end of the story before they've read at the beginning. So this is a way to take your MindMup. So instead of people seeing it like this all at once, they see it in the order you want them to see it. And then once you have the storyboard,
He's on one.
once you have the storyboard,
The sidebar. Yes.
then you can download your storyboard as a what? So if you go to File, you can go to Download As Storyboard. So that's in today's video. The main thing I want to introduce people to is this concept of a storyboard. And for people in California who take Word and they do, or I mean Office, and they have PowerPoint as one of the programs that you can export your storyboard as, for example, slides or PowerPoint or Word. So that takes all of your ideas, you put them in a certain order, then you turn them into a PowerPoint, and you can now print it and give it to people. So MindMup starts with a great way to organize ideas, then to drill down in those ideas and really flesh them out, then to create a storyboard for the order you want people to see these things in. Okay, does that make sense? Now, if I want to move these slides around, I can just drag them to wherever I want. So for our purposes, oops. What I might want to do is say this. I might want to start my storyboard like this. Okay, here's the job. These are ideas of jobs that I wanted. And I chose this one. So I bring that over to my storyboard and say, that's what I want to do. Then I would go down to, I'd skip over possible employers, and I would go to my research. On employer 1. And then, for my plan, I would do, what would I have under my plan, do you think? I'd do the same thing. Tab, number 1, 2, 3. So I'd have over on, under create a plan, I'd have a different plan for each employer. Prospective employer. One employer, I might know somebody that works there. I might know that the owner likes going to a certain restaurant, or the guy who hires me goes to a certain restaurant, and I might want to go to that restaurant. So I create a different plan. So I had over here, go back. Okay, now you notice when I changed the note, it also changed the storyboard. So I changed that to research company 1. And then over here, I would then move my storyboard to that. So what does it say? Okay, what I want to do is I want to write books. That's what I want to do. Number 1 would be replaced with the name of the company. Here's the company I could go work for that writes books, and here's the research I've done. And here's the plan I did for company 1. Yeah, so here's the plan, my plan for company 1. Then I go to, okay, for company 2. Here's the research I did for company 2. And here's my plan for company 2. So do you see how that's now like a story? You see, you have that look like you're not clear. Okay, so think in terms of the story, like you're going to write a story, right? And to write a story, if you're doing your research, if you're writing a story the right way, before you write the story, you have all of the stuff you want to include. Where does the story take place? Who are the characters? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? And you write little notes on your story. And then you take those and you create a document out. Or picture it like this. In the old days, before computers, people would often use index cards. What's an index card? A 3x5 card, right? And they would write stuff on it. Story idea. And then they could put them out on a table and arrange them in a certain order. So you take all these note cards, you just write your thoughts down randomly. Okay, what came to my mind right now is here's the character. So here's how my storyboard would look. My flashcard would look. I'd say character. I might say bad guy. Bob is his name, and I'd have some stuff about Bob that I'd write. Okay? Then I might say, have another flashcard that said scene, house. And I describe the house. And so if I'm writing my story, I just do this brain of thought. I'm just sitting in my room thinking of this story. And as a thought comes to my mind, stream of conscious, I create a flashcard and I do it. And I make sure to put up here what category it is. So if I end up with 100 cards, I can say, okay, where's all my character cards? Boom, 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 boom. Where's my scene cards here? And then I can rearrange them and create my story from that. That's how people do stuff. That's what this is. MindMup enables us to create an idea, could be a business, create these little nodes, which you could think of as like flashcards, and then create sub-flashcards of those, and to reorganize them however we want. So let's say I close this for a second. I move this over here. Can I move this node somewhere else? Yeah, how do I do it? I select it and I drag it. Now it's over there. So if you're thinking in terms of flashcards, this would be like taking this flashcard that says write books and putting it in this stack over here. And then I can move it back, and actually that's my first choice, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so we're almost out of time. So, let's see.
Director,
Yeah.
what if you wanted to, like, let's say at some point you're like, okay, some of this stuff I didn't want, or I just want to start fresh because I got a basic.
Okay.
How would you just go right back to the beginning? And even though you're going to probably have the same concept and you just want to start fresh,
Well, you could start a whole new MindMup. What I would do, I'm a believer in don't throw anything away, because you never know, you might need it, and you don't need to do that. So I would create a node called old ideas. And I would drag the nodes into that as subnodes of that node. Okay? Because then if I said, oh, I already did this, I threw it away, I didn't throw it away, I put it in the old idea node. Let me go find it. Then when I created my storyboard, what node would I never put in my storyboard? Which node would I not put in my storyboard?
So all those.
Wait, hold it. Which node would I not put in my storyboard? So I'm asking you a question.
Oh.
Which node would I not put in my storyboard? Yeah, the one that's called old ideas. But I still have it on my MindMup in case I need to go back to it, and who cares? It's called old ideas. It doesn't matter if I keep it, right? Okay. Dennis, what questions can we ask in California in the last 2.5 minutes?
Any questions? Anybody? I'm sorry?
Can you like that?
You want to go ahead?
Like yes, this kind of.
I know someone look at your just to see how you act.
Okay, didn't understand that. Your bad internet.
Oh.
How about creating a chat box? Let's do this, Dennis. Let's go create a chat over on the right side and type your question in.
We students.
Oh, you have a new student?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Let's meet the new student.
Just introduce the student with me.
Okay, you just have to use short sentences.
See MindMup's screen.
What?
Right here. Right here. Tanya. Here's the camera. Right there. Right. Let's see. There you are. See in the corner.
Good morning.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning. That's me.
Good morning.
What is your name?
Tanya. T-N-A. T-A-Y-U.
T-A-Y?
Yeah, like And yay.
Okay, yay, Tanya, Tanya.
Right.
Good. So where are you from, Tanya?
From LA.
What part?
West.
West LA, like Santa Monica, near Westwood, or what?
Yeah.
Okay, good, great. And where did you come to us from?
United
Post office.
Oh, post office. Okay, good. Congratulations. How long were you at the post office?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. Okay, so a relative newbie, right?
Okay.
Dennis will tell you we've had people from the post office for 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
They work there. Who was it? Gloria?
Oh, it was
A bunch of people.
LA. Ralph. No.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of people over the years. Well, what courses are you taking? What program are you in at Larson? Medical bookkeeping?
Yes.
Excellent.
It's the same thing. It's pretty much.
Great, terrific. Well, please send me an email so I can add you to my circle for the Los Angeles campus. Good, thank you. Welcome. You're in great hands with Rose and Dennis, but I'm sure you already have figured that out by now.
Yes, I have.
Good.
You
Okay,
say
welcome.
yes. Thank you.
Any other new students, Dennis?
I hear. Here she comes.
Okay, good morning. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. And what is your name?
My first name is Laura. Like now.
Laura.
Nora?
Laura.
Laura. I have a sister named Laura. Okay, Laura. And where do you live?
Flora. Like the flower. Flower. Like the flower.
I thought you said Laura. Oh, Flora.
Flora.
Flora, like flower.
Flora.
Flora.
There you go.
Okay. Flora. And Flora, where are you from?
I'm a local.
Local.
Huntington.
Huntington Park. Is that right near Norwalk?
It's
That's by itself.
It's near Southgate?
yes.
It's near Southgate.
Yes.
Okay, good. So what's that, off the 605? Or no? 91?
Like the one.
Oh, 105. Okay, got it. And Flora, where did you come to us from?
I'm a medical.
She's a medical. A medical.
That's the program she's taking?
No, she's a medical builder.
Oh, okay, great. And is that what Flora's going to continue to do? Is that what the program she's taking?
Okay. She's taking the so she's medical book. Yes.
Medical bookkeeping?
Yes. It's more pressure.
Oh, good. So QuickBooks, right?
Yes. Books as well.
Okay, great. Well, fantastic. So welcome to Larson. We're happy, excited that you're here. Please send me an email so I can add you to my circle. So every day you get a notice like at 5:30 in the morning of what we're doing.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
You said thank you.
Okay, great. Good. Dennis, is there anything else?
No, that'd be it.
Okay, well, thank you, California, for being there. And we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, Thursday, the Jesuit's going to be here.
Oh, okay.
All right, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.